This video is an act of war. I'm about to go in on these so-called boxing experts, on these so-called hardcore fans who make certain statements. I've heard some of these fans say that Floyd Mayweather claiming he's TBE is nonsense. And they say he's not even on their top 10 all-time great list. They say that Thomas Hearns is a guy that would knock out Floyd Mayweather. Roberto Duran would knock out Floyd Mayweather. Who says that Chavez would knock out Floyd Mayweather? Here are the reasons why this is ludicrous. Let's start off with Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson was an excellent fighter, and in the prime of his career, he went up in weight and he fought a fighter named Joey Maxim. This was in the prime of his career, 1952. Now, it is said that Sugar Ray Robinson was overcome by the incredible heat, and that he retired on his stool, as it says here, after round 13, suffering from heat prostration. Here's my question to you. If he was whooping Joey Maxim's ass round after round, why is it that Joey Maxim wasn't suffering from heat prostration? No? It's a simple question. So, I wanted the answer to that question, and I went and watched the fight. And the fight is on YouTube. You can go up on YouTube and watch the fight from round 1 to round 13. What I found out was this: that Sugar Ray Robinson, while he looked all flashy and everything, was landing body punches and stuff on Joey Maxim, Joey Maxim in the clinches was landing body shots and left hooks to Sugar Ray Robinson, sometimes a jab here and there. But Joey Maxim wasn't wasting his energy. He conserved his energy. That's why Joey Maxim took it up in round 11, 12, and 13 and started bringing the fight to Sugar Ray Robinson. And what really happened was Joey Maxim in round 13 started whooping Sugar Ray Robinson's ass because Sugar Ray Robinson had punched his ass out. And so by round 13, just like with Conor McGregor, Joey Maxim started landing body punches and left hooks to Sugar Ray Robinson, and his corner called quits. In other words, Sugar Ray Robinson quit. He quit. Now you tell me. That's why he retired from boxing for 3 years after that. He was devastated because he couldn't believe he quit. But see, people loved Sugar Ray Robinson, and they will never talk about his excessive movement in the ring and how he moved so far away from Joey Maxim when Joey Maxim would land a punch on him. Because he hit Joey Maxim with the kitchen sink, and Joey Maxim went nowhere. Just kept coming. Kept pressuring him, round after round. Pressuring him. Just like Floyd did Conor McGregor. Because his power didn't translate to that weight class. He couldn't depend on his power to KO people like he KO'd Rocky Graciano the fight before. Like Roberto Gonzalez, he wasn't this heavy tanking hitter anymore. Yeah, he could box and he could move, but he was also a tank hitter. Now he had to resort to something else. And so what I'm saying to you is, he expended too much energy. He punched himself out. He did not pace himself. And the precise footwork that Floyd Mayweather has in the ring keeps him from punching himself out. He don't dance all around the ring. Floyd uses pivots. Precise footwork. Another boxer who did that is Pernell Whitaker. Now, if you say that Floyd Mayweather and Pernell Whitaker are a good matchup, and you say that maybe Pernell Whitaker's ahead of Floyd, even though that's not possible, but nonetheless, if you say that, then you got more credibility, in my opinion. If you talk about Charlie Burley, Pernell Whitaker, Mike McCallum, these guys used precise defensive techniques in their boxing. That's why I said I would have loved to see a Floyd Mayweather face a Mike McCallum at super welterweight. That's an interesting fight. Or Charlie Burley. Floyd goes up to super welter. Or even at welter. Him facing the Charlie Burley. I think Floyd still beats Charlie Burley for certain reasons. But it would have been a good ass fight. Because these guys, they're not just flashy. They not just depend on their power. They not just are applauded by people excessively, but yet with certain fights they came up short. These guys were for real. But I decided to go in on these people who call themselves so-called historians. They call themselves so-called purists. They call themselves so-called great people of boxing. You tell me how a no-name guy could beat Sugar Ray Robinson in Randolph Turpin. He was in the time, he was an emerging name. Let's not get it twisted. He was an emerging name, but he had beaten basically nobody. He beat one or two people. But basically, Sugar Ray Robinson was not supposed to lose to this guy. He caught hell twice with this guy, with Randy Turpin, who was not known as a knockout artist. He was just a boxer, a pretty decent boxer. And Sugar Ray Robinson couldn't handle him. He finally knocked him out in the second fight. He had to depend on his power to knock out Randy Turpin, who was boxing rings around him as usual. Let's move on. But you got all you so-called purists say, and you praise Ray Robinson. You talk about, oh, you know, he can move from shuffling to precise footwork, and then he had that little bounce, and he could go from shuffling to precise. Y'all praise him unnecessarily. You praise him unnecessarily. And I watched all the videos of all of y'all people, and I'm about to put y'all on blast. All right? I'm about to put y'all on blast. You know why? Because of the hypocrisy that's out here. It's politics being played. Y'all don't like Floyd Mayweather. He cannot be the best ever. And he shouldn't be in the top 10 or the top 5 ATGs of all time. Which makes no sense to me. People who know boxing know Floyd's a better boxer than Muhammad Ali. He's a better boxer than Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Leonard's a better boxer than Sugar Ray Robinson. Because Sugar Ray Leonard actually won his fight against Donnie Lalonde. Yeah, it wasn't a catchweight. It wasn't the full 175. But still he won it against a light heavyweight champion. And you know why he won it against the light heavyweight champion? Because while both of them was blazing and wasting some unnecessary energy fighting each other, okay, there was some unnecessary energy, at least Ray was able to wear down the bigger champion. And that's how he took him out in the later rounds. See, this is boxing. You want your opponent to wear down. And the key is to wear them down. If you're a boxer, you're going to wear them down two ways. There's two ways. Let them expend unnecessary energy, whether they're winning rounds or not. And the second way is to break them down to the body. Those two things Joey Maxim did to Sugar Ray Robinson. Let's move on. The other thing I hear these boxing purists talk about is Thomas the Hitman Hearns. They said if you catch Floyd with one punch, that's straight right. Floyd's going to sleep. Here's the problem. You talk about that because Thomas Hearns caught the great Roberto Duran with one punch. Well, it wasn't actually one punch. It was actually an accumulation of punches. And Duran couldn't find his way on the inside. And so because of that, Duran was put to sleep. So for some reason, you think Thomas Hearns would do the same to Floyd. What you keep on forgetting is that Floyd wasn't Duran. Duran never kept himself in shape out of season. His way of staying in shape was to keep on doing stay busy fights. And Duran was not in his best shape when he went to face Thomas Hearns. That's the first point. Second point is Thomas Hearns faced Sugar Ray Leonard at welterweight. If Thomas Hearns faced Floyd at welterweight, the fight, and Floyd being a better fighter than Sugar Ray Leonard is, and everybody know he have a wider skill set. I listen to a lot of people say, oh, Sugar Ray Leonard would have beaten Floyd Mayweather. No, he would not. No, he would not. Would you like to know why? Because Sugar Ray Leonard like all of those boxers of that era, depended on their jab. Floyd would have disciplined him. He would not be using his jab. Floyd don't need a jab. Floyd uses feints. Leonard would never find the range, and he would never find the timing on Floyd. I don't care how much killer instinct you have. I don't care how much willpower you have. You got to find him to hit him. And guess what would happen? Floyd would be tagging Leonard up and down. And Leonard's a smart fighter. Don't get it wrong. He's a good and he's a smart fighter. But even he said he had difficulty against Floyd Mayweather Sr. finding him. And he said if Floyd Mayweather Sr. had power, he'd be in trouble. Well, guess what? Junior got more power than Senior. He got bad hands, but he got more power than Senior. He got better boxing skill than Senior. Not to mention that high guard that he has. No, Leonard would never in a million years, even his brother knows that, beat Floyd. But you just got to know boxing. Of course, they'll never meet each other. And I'm not mad at Leonard. Looky here. Floyd watched Leonard. He studied Leonard. He admired Leonard. So obviously he would be better than Leonard. No matter what nobody says. But that is actually a testament to Leonard. If Leonard never came around, we wouldn't have Floyd Mayweather. They're supposed to get better. This generation coming up is supposed to be better than Floyd. The Errol Spence Jr.'s, the Terrence Crawfords of the world, they're supposed to be better than him because they grew up watching him. So, people say Thomas Hearns. He never knocked out Sugar Ray Leonard. How's he going to knock out Floyd? You telling me Floyd is not as conditioned as Leonard is? People say, well, he got hit by Shane Mosley. And did he drop him? Did Mosley drop Floyd? He got hit by Mosley, by Donna, Oscar. He got hit by Canelo. He got hit by Pacquiao. Did he go down? Did any of these people drop Floyd? We're talking at welterweight. We're not talking about at super middleweight. At super middleweight, he dropped Sugar Ray Leonard twice. And Sugar Ray Leonard in the final rounds came hard at Thomas Hearns. Probably might have stopped him. Alright? Because Leonard's that bad. And my point being, guess what? If Leonard's that tough, Floyd's tougher than that. Y'all think Floyd's not tough. Everybody knows Floyd tough. He took an uppercut from Conor McGregor. Most other boxers wouldn't take that uppercut and not wobble. And not wobble. Here's my point though. When he fought Ray Leonard the first time, Ray Leonard put up his high guard and walked to Hearns. And from rounds 10 and onwards, Ray Leonard closed that gap and started beating Hearns to the body and to the head. And that's how he took out Hearns, because Hearns is weak to the body. Especially when he was at welterweight. He was so dried out. He was weak to the body. And he didn't have the stamina. And if you put pressure on Hearns and you walk Hearns down for and this was a 15 rounder, and you keep on walking his ass down, he will break down himself. Couldn't take pressure. He tried to outbox you, and he can't do it. He can't maintain that intensity for 15 rounds. That's how Leonard stopped him. The same way how Joey Maxim stopped Sugar Ray Robinson. He wore him down. Yeah, Hearns is dangerous earlier on, and he's probably dangerous throughout the fight, but he wore him down. This is boxing, ladies and gentlemen. So all of you so-called purists, so-called experts, you never box a day in your life, but you believe what you believe. Let me tell you something. I mean, if Floyd faced the super middleweight Thomas the Hitman Hearns, that's a totally different story. I'm not talking about super middleweight Thomas the Hitman Hearns. He's fully filled out and everything. That Hearns is a totally different story. But at welterweight, that skinny Thomas the Hitman Hearns, man, he open to the body. He's open to the body, man. The Hearns at middleweights, he filled out a lot more, but not the one at welter, man. He could give it, but he couldn't take it. Let's go on. He hit Leonard with some punches, man. He hit, and Leonard took him, man. And that's Hearns in his prime. And I'm telling you, Floyd in his prime, or Floyd even now, he would take them punches. All right, Floyd is a tough guy. You had to hit Floyd with more than one punch. You had to hit him with more than one punch to get him out of there. Ask Shane Mosley. Ask Marcus Maidana. He's tough. And by the way, Roberto Duran took multiple punches from Hearns before he went down. I'm just saying. Hearns finally caught him right, but took multiple shots. He went down first, and then Hearns got him out of there. He was dropped first. Okay? I'm just saying. And Roberto Duran doesn't have the reflexes of a Floyd Mayweather. But let's go to Roberto Duran now. Y'all say Roberto Duran would eat him raw at lightweight, right? First of all, before we even get to lightweight, I'm going to get to lightweight. But first of all, Roberto Duran, I believe it was at super welterweight, if I'm not mistaken. Roberto Duran faced a certain boxer, Kirkland Lang. I don't know if you guys know who Kirkland Lang is. Okay, he faced Kirkland Lang. That was at super welterweight, I believe it was. Yes, super welterweight. Okay. He faced Kirkland Lang. Kirkland Lang was a much lighter guy than him. Kirkland Lang, I want you guys to see this, so I'm going to pull it up. And you can go and watch all these fights, because I always watch the fights, alright? Kirkland Lang had a 43% knockout ratio. Alright? 43% knockout ratio, career-wise. Okay? Dude was not known to knock out people. And Kirkland Lang outboxed Roberto Duran. He outboxed him. You understand what I'm saying? He outboxed Roberto Duran. But that's down the road. But I want to show you something. I want to show you this first, because dude was feather-fisted. You know, in terms of knockouts and stuff, we would say he was a feather-fisted guy, because y'all will say Floyd is a feather-fisted dude. This is boxing. Kirkland Lang outboxed him. Kirkland Lang was a big old mover. But even before Kirkland Lang beat Roberto Duran, there was a boxer named Edwin Viorette. Go watch that fight. Go watch that fight. No, not Edwin Viorette. That's the brother of the guy. The guy I'm talking about is, yes, it's Edwin Viorette. Sorry, my bad. Edwin Viorette, the Viorette brothers. All right? Edwin Viorette outboxed Roberto Duran twice. But they never gave him the decision. And it is what it is. It is what it is. Alright? But he outboxed Roberto. The second time, he beat him better than the first time. He bloodied his nose. Alright? Go watch the fight. Go watch the fight. The first one was a 10-rounder. And the second one, I think, was a championship bout. Yeah, it was a 15-rounder for the lightweight title. And turn off the volume on the commentary, because Edwin Viorette was laughing. He was laughing and beating the crap. Yeah, he had slapping punches, but he was outpointing Roberto Duran. And yes, he bloodied his nose. And Duran was catching hell to beat Edwin Viorette 2 times. Why I mention Edwin Viorette is because people think that it was when Roberto Duran had slowed down, he wasn't in his prime anymore, that Kirkland Lang had outboxed him. But the truth be told, this dude from Puerto Rico, Edwin Viorette, who Edwin Rosario knocked out later on in his career, this is the guy that outboxed. And he knows it. He outboxed Roberto Duran twice. Not once. Twice. Didn't get a decision because it was... I don't even know why he didn't get the decision. I guess he was the guy landing most of the punches. But I guess because he wasn't really... They felt he wasn't really doing much to Roberto Duran in terms of hurting him. And whenever Roberto Duran could actually land something, which was either rolled or snapped back from, or they thought that Duran did something. But obviously, Edwin Viorette left that fight without a scratch. He didn't have anything. He didn't have lumpy eyes, nothing. He left the fight without a scratch. Outboxed Duran. Both twice. And the second time, he bloodied up Duran's nose. He beat him better the second time. In fact, the first time, people called, there was an outrage because he outboxed him so well. And so they had the rematch eventually for the world title, and he bloodied his nose a second time. Duran never got bloody nose before that. Not even when he faced Esteban de Jesus. But what am I saying? Aaron Viret. So you guys will understand what I'm talking about, because I'm tired of hearing the same old nonsense from people who don't know boxing. They go into these fanboyisms and they get all... Aaron Viret had a 35% knockout ratio. How can a guy who has a 35% knockout ratio even stand up to you? This guy should be mowed down. This guy should be knocked out, right? Duran should come in, pulverize him, and knock him. Why didn't he knock him out? All the other guys he was knocking out, all these supposedly good boxers. Why Edmund Viret go the distance both times with Duran? Why? And you go and you watch the actual fights. If you know boxing and you're watching the shots that are coming in and landing, you realize that Viret was landing a whole bunch of shots on Duran. More than Duran was landing on him. In fact, he hardly did anything to Viret. Viret didn't have nothing. I mean, he left the fight fine. Everybody else Duran had faced got knocked out or stopped. So why was Viret standing? The only other guy I know who managed to make it out the fight, but he got his ass beat, was Saul Mbe. But he didn't really belong to that weight class. He came down in weight to face Duran. I don't even think it was a lightweight fight. I think it was actually somewhere be a super lightweight. I think it was kind of close to that. But the point anyway is, Viret outboxed him, and so did Kirkland Land. And my point is, if these guys who got no punching power whatsoever could outbox Roberto Duran, what do you think Floyd would do? Not to mention, Sugar Ray Leonard outboxed his ass. Easy. And we know Floyd is better than Leonard. He's better than Viret. And he's sure as hell better than Kirkland Land. And he hits harder than those guys. Except for Leonard. Leonard hits harder than Floyd, obviously. Alright? So, when people say that Duran would beat Floyd Mayweather, I'm like, what are you talking about, man? That don't make no sense. Make this make sense. And they talk about dimensions and size. And do people understand what a defense is? Do people know Pernell Whitaker's history? Did anybody ever watch Pernell Whitaker fight? Let's talk about Julio Cesar Chavez. So people say Chavez would beat Floyd Mayweather, and they're like, and it's always this cojones thing, tough, and Chavez would go to the body and stuff. Okay, if Julio Cesar Chavez would do that, let's talk about Chavez in his prime first. Let's talk about Chavez in his prime. Chavez in his prime met a boxer named Jose Luis Ramirez, a southpaw fighter, Jose Luis Ramirez. Alright? What happened in that fight with Jose Luis Ramirez? Any of you know? It was at lightweight, by the way. Alright? I'm going to tell you what happened. It was his last lightweight fight. See if I can find it. This is super lightweight. Super lightweight. There it is. This ended in a technical draw in the 11th round. You know what? Not technical draw. Technical win for Chavez. People thought it was a robbery. But then again, it was a blatant robbery against Pernell Whitaker. So we're not even going to Whitaker yet. Because Whitaker was in another weight class. Let's look at Jose Luis Ramirez. Jose Luis Ramirez, right, by the way, was outboxed by Boom Boom Mancini. Alright? Boom Boom Mancini never faced Julio Cesar Chavez, by the way. But anyway, Jose Luis Ramirez, he faced Julio Cesar Chavez. Go watch that fight. And anybody who knows boxing knows Jose Luis Ramirez outboxed Chavez. Maybe he can't deal with southpaws. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. I don't know. He outboxed him. And because of a clash of heads, Chavez was bailed out. Alright? Ramirez was going to probably stop his ass in that fight. The point is, how can you be outboxed by a guy? He got boxing skills. Jose Luis Ramirez has decent boxing skills, and He got a win over Pernell Whitaker, which is really not a win because Pernell Whitaker really beat him, but that's another story for another day. It is what it is. He got the W on Whitaker, and maybe this is just karma coming back at him. And where he's supposed to get a win, Chavez get the win on him. Chavez was, of course, the promising dude coming up, and Ramirez was at the end of his game. He's a much more older Ramirez. But nonetheless, the point is that you go watch the fight, and Ramirez outboxed this dude. And was beating him up and probably would have stopped him, which is why they were happy to get the technical decision. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, the infamous robbery. This was just a straight-up robbery. And Pernell Whitaker's style is a defensive style, like Floyd's. At no point when Floyd was facing Jose Luis Castillo, he was in trouble. At no point. In fact, he was dusting Castillo through the first 4 rounds. 5th and 6th, Castillo picked up. But Castillo did not do to Floyd what he did to the Cuban boxer who was known as Joel Casamayor. In fact, man, he really beat Casamayor in the final rounds. He beat him up good. Casamayor was clinching a lot. Floyd didn't clinch. Round 10, he was fighting toe-to-toe. Round 11, he was fighting toe-to-toe inside. Round 12, the fight ended with them throwing blows. Floyd took it up a notch and started fighting Castillo toe-to-toe. He was actually fighting Castillo at a certain point. So, for people to think that somehow Julio Cesar Chavez would have beaten Floyd Mayweather, and he gets beaten by a guy called Frankie Randall when he's still in his prime, a guy who he should not have been beaten by the way. It's hard for me to imagine Julio Cesar Chavez beating Floyd Mayweather. I know Julio Cesar Chavez will go to the body, just like how Jose Luis Castillo tried to go to the body with Floyd. But you got 2 major problems. The problem is you want to go to the body, no doubt, but so does Floyd. And Floyd won't start off going to the body. So we know that you want to go to the body. We know that Floyd want to go to the body. But in the end, I feel that Chavez would have gotten discouraged just like Castillo in the second fight. And he would have been angry and he'd be saying, come on. Because he going to find that Floyd's going to have you chasing him at certain points. At other points, he going to be coming to you. Other points, he going to be ambushed and punching you. And he's gone. Other times, he'll be going toe-to-toe and beating you up. And that's just too much for a guy like Julio Cesar Chavez. If you're going toe-to-toe with Chavez, it's okay. When you mixing up the game, and sometimes you're coming to him, sometimes you're making him come to you. Sometimes when he comes to you, you get surprised and he gets banged up. And next minute, you are right up on him. And you're just killing him on the inside. You have to understand, when we deal with guys like Pernell Whitaker or Floyd Mayweather, ambush fighters, we call them. They strikers. They snipers, right? They pull the trigger on you in different ways. They change up the game on you in different ways. And it's mentally frustrating when all you want to do is go in there and swing at something. That's why Roberto had a hard time with Floyd. Because 1 minute he's chasing down Floyd, next minute Floyd's walking him down and hitting him with a whole set of shots. And next minute Floyd's turning him and he's getting hit up all over the place. Next minute he's trying to go toe-to-toe and Floyd's not there. And it's confusing. Pernell Whitaker was turning. He was turning Chavez all the time. Turning him. Chavez is going around and around in the circle. And he's just banging up Chavez while he's turning. You see what I'm saying? So, once again, I don't think that Julio Cesar Chavez would win in a fight against Floyd Mayweather at all. And that's the problem with people who say that they're adamant, oh man, these guys would beat Floyd Mayweather. I'm like, where's your logic, man? Looking at all the fights and the people these guys faced, and looking at the types that are like Floyd that they faced, they failed against these dudes. Thomas Hearns, he failed against Sugar Ray Leonard at welterweight. Duran failed against boxers like Leonard, like Floyd. Julio Cesar Chavez failed at boxers like Floyd. Ray Robinson failed against boxers like Floyd, and they weren't even half the boxer that Floyd is. They weren't even half the boxer that Sugar Ray Leonard is. They weren't even half the boxer of a guy in his era called Charlie Burley was. And he getting outboxed by these dudes. So I mean, anytime you guys want to talk about your top 10 ATGs or top 5 ATGs of all time, bear in mind that when Floyd says he's better than Muhammad Ali, he really was a better boxer than Muhammad Ali. It's just what it is. Y'all don't like to hear it, but it's true. You feel he's being boastful, but he's being truthful. And I'm tired of these so-called purists, so-called boxing purists. See, I'm not a Floyd fan that doesn't give you a reason for what I say. I say something, and then I give you the reasoning behind it. I give you hardcore reasoning. I give you hardcore facts. I don't just talk out the crook of my ass, do I? I'm giving you hardcore facts. Now it's up to you if you want to take those facts and go with them. And then if you want to counter me, at least you bear those facts in mind. Or you are someone who is going to just lock in step in what you believe, and that's it. Because this is called boxing, ladies and gentlemen. This is not called I am all caught up in my emotions about a fighter. It's called boxing. And that's the problem with the people today. You get caught up in your emotions. I hate this guy. And anybody who argues that this guy is better than he is, they're a Floyd fan, and they're just all caught up in their emotions about Floyd, and they try to find reasons to show that he's good. Or you're ready to come down to reality and listen to what the person's actually saying to you, the content. And I'm not saying that all these boxers that I just spoke about weren't great boxers. I'm just saying that you cannot say that Floyd is not in the conversation with these dudes. I would have loved to see the matchups with these guys versus Floyd Mayweather. But I know that these guys have shown that a fighter like Floyd could beat them. And the principles of boxing, they succumb to. They get caught up in their abilities and skills, and they got carried away with that, and they underestimated their opponents. Ray Robinson underestimated Johnny Maxim. Because he thought he had a punching bag in front of him, he wore himself out. Otherwise, if you were saying that the heat of the day was the reason why he melted away and he didn't pace himself for the 15-rounder, Joey Maxim should have been as tired as he was and should have been ready to drop. And Ray should have beaten him because he was landing punches on him all night long. That narrative is not true. It's not true. And I see true bullshit, man. It's an excuse for why he lost. Losers make excuses. Winners win. And don't tell me Joey Maxim was too big for him. He was relying on his power to bail him out. And when his power didn't work, he had to box for 15 rounds. And he couldn't maintain that frenetic pace he was at. Because Joey Maxim was putting pressure on him. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Thomas Hearns at welterweight was weak to the body. Sugar Ray Leonard found out that. He found out what his weakness was. Put his guard up. He had a roving guard. He didn't have the high guard. The established solid high guard that Floyd has. He put the roving guard up. And he started walking to him. They started walking to him. And Hearns started to feel the pressure. Now he had to box. Because Hearns needs a range to be effective. Yeah, he got those uppercuts and stuff. And hooks. But most of the time, to extend his jab, he needed to extend his jab to find his range. And Sugar Ray Leonard cramped him for space and started pressuring him. Just like Joey Maxim did to Ray Robinson. All of a sudden, Hearns, his power and everything, he realized he needed to have that power on an extension. Y'all get caught up in Hearns' power. But he needed range to make his power effective. All of a sudden his jab, he couldn't extend it as he wanted to because Sugar Ray Leonard was cramping him for space. Roberto Duran, great boxer. Usually he forces his opponent into submission. What happens when you can't find your opponent? What happens? You got to change your game now, baby. What you going to do? How you going to get him to come to you? Because now, you were very good at slipping the jab and stuff and getting to the inside, but all of a sudden, this dude, he's having you setting traps for you. So when you try to come, you come down the wrong line. Now what you going to do? You got to change your game. Are you able to do that? Are you able to make the adjustment?
Check the bathroom here, please.
Are you able to make that adjustment? You're going to have to excuse the person who keeps on interrupting me, okay? Are you able to make the adjustment? So, that's the key thing here with boxing. Boxing is more than just your abilities and your skills. What happens when we strip your ability? Strip what you're so good at. You got to find something else. You got to find something else to get that W. That's why they say styles make fights. And they say certain styles other opponents can't get over. But see, with Floyd Mayweather, y'all. With Floyd Mayweather, he can adapt to the style in front of him with his style. That's the difference. Of all these fighters here, when you strip him of something, he got something else up his sleeve. That's what makes him the best ever. I never said he was the greatest of all time. But don't tell me, don't disgrace this guy by telling me he's not in the top 10 or he's in the top 5. He's definitely in the top 5 of all time. I don't care who you call. And y'all are so obsessed with power and size. Y'all talk about Sam Langford. He was the greatest heavyweight of all time and all this bullshit. And he's a good boxer. He's a great boxer. But y'all forget. There's certain styles he just could not handle. Showing his limitation. He couldn't make the adjustments. Find me a fighter that can make the adjustment and get the W. And believe you me, Floyd diminished from prime Floyd a long time ago. Yet he was fighting stiffer competition as he got up in age. How was he able to do that and still win with bad hands? This is boxing. Boxing. This is boxing. I'm out. Peace.